Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, Youth Baseball Talk, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. He's a little throaty, a little allergy, so
throaty.
We'll let the
what does that mean?
The week.com slide.
Oh no, I did that because I was trying to mimic like the Game 7. I was trying to go .com and it didn't come out like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was like, I failed.
You gotta excuse the throatiness.
Hey, I'm 0 for 1. But what does throatiness mean?
You're having some struggles in the throat.
I got you.
Hacking up lungs.
I have a Kermit in my throat.
Yeah, there it is. Kermit. He's had some allergy issues, so we'll let that one slide.
I think it's my dog, and I'm upset. I got a new puppy.
It's struggling, huh?
I have a Labrador, and everybody knows I like to hunt, and this can't happen.
You ever seen a Labrador?
I have one.
If you've seen a Labrador, don't you?
I don't know.
You don't know that cartoon? It's an old cartoon with Porky Pig and the dog. And he's talking about.
This is for our older crowd.
Yeah, this is great. The dog is talking about what he is. I'm 50% pointer, 50% this, and he said I'm 50% Labrador Retriever. And Porky's like, no, you're not. You're not. He says, have you ever seen a Labrador? Get a Labrador and I'll retrieve it. It's just funny.
Back to the show.
Off topic there. Game7Baseball.com. We're going to get into that here in just a minute. The Shamrock Shootout happened down at Ballparks of America. Got some champions there. It was a cold weekend, but they got through it. It is March, right? It happens. We got the Midwest Rebels Invitational coming up that we're hoping. Weather's looking a little rough.
It does.
So I just don't know about that. But we're going to talk about that anyway. We're going to get toward it. We're going to be prepared for it. We're going to be live streaming our championship game out at Ozzy's. But before we get into that, Prime Sports Midwest, our local sporting goods, everything baseball, bats, gloves. Put that glove on. They got a great selection of gloves. We got some video coming up. We've got our gear coming out on our store. Rick is finishing up that for us. Right now, though, we got our new subscriber contest going. We've got the Bucket O Baseballs, Prime Sports Midwest Bucket with...
Our warning for toddlers, do not let them get in the bucket because they could drown. And
First of all, don't put water in the bucket.
The
bucket is only for baseballs.
Only for baseballs, not little children.
And a seat for the coach.
Which aren't comfortable if you're a big guy like me.
There you go. And we got baseballs. We got the...
ROLBs.
Very good. High school baseball right there. Good stuff. And just so you know, they have the high school baseballs down. They got a ton of baseballs. I saw it. I was at the store the other day. The Misha Ball of baseball, high school baseball, on sale right now. Go down and make sure you get yourself stocked up if you need baseballs for the season. Great time to do it. But our giveaway, bucket of baseballs right here, the old Prime Sports. We got the 36-inch.
Yeah, Fungo, baby. You can hit some long ones with this. I'll be honest with you. I want to take a little dark stain and just kind of stain the handle with it. You know what I mean? Make it a little bit more. We're
going to leave that alone.
I know that's a thing for me.
That would be
though.
you.
Yeah, like I love the natural look though. I want to swing it.
Yeah.
So maybe I can win it. I already subscribed, so
yeah.
We only have a few more to go though, right?
Yeah.
Till we hit 1,000.
Yes, we're close.
Last time I looked was 970. That was like a week ago.
I think we're at 973. So I think we got 27 left, 27 spots. We got to get to 1,000. We're going to give it Marucci hitting net right here, portable. Great stuff. Come on out there, all you folks who are watching. We appreciate your support. We got some great live stream stuff coming up. We've got our high school lineup is really going to be good this year.
Oh yeah,
we've got some really good matchups coming up in the season, pitching wise. Starting off with Francis Howell and Timberland GAC game of the week. We got Howell Central and Francis Howell. We've got Liberty and Holt. We got Zumwalt East and South. Then we've got Troy Buchanan going against North Point. We got some Friday night light games. Webster Groves, Kirkwood out at Baldwin. On a Tuesday, the last Tuesday of the year, it's going to be a big one. I talked with Coach Horn yesterday out at Francis Howell. We are going to be live streaming at CBC. It'll be the Cadets versus the Jackson Indians, man. That's a big-time game right there.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
I
saw Coach Wiggins had posted something the other day that first time that Webster Groves had beat Kirkwood in like a long time.
Yeah, it was a 13-8 game. That was I saw that.
I just saw him post. I'm friends with him, and Dave's been on the show several times. So
that's an early game in a tournament, so we're gonna get a couple more times. That's gonna be a fun one to watch.
Oh yeah.
I love that. So we got some great rivalries. So make sure you're subscribing. We got our Sunday. I almost knocked my coffee over. We got some great Sunday matchups. I know we're going to get some good tournament matchups there. Saturday, when we're out at the ballpark, we've got some trivia giveaways. We're going to be posting our times that we're going to be doing our trivia questions. We got some other giveaways that we're going to be doing. We're going to be out with the video. Come by the studio. If you're 14 or your team is there, come by the studio. We're going to have our interviews set up there. We're going to be doing some interviews for our post-game show. We're going to be doing some interviews for our Tuesday show out at the ballpark on Saturday from the morning through into the afternoon. It's going to be a lot of fun.
If I get a chance to come out there, I think I'm bringing my pop-up turkey net.
Heck, we got to get you out.
I'm gonna bring a heater in there. Be just fine.
There you go. We'll put Mitch. Mitch is going to do all the interviews.
Oh man, that could get fun.
We'll have the kids come out and you get to interview with Mitch over here and talk a little baseball.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll get you in there, baby.
Can I do the trivia questions too? Mm-hmm. Does it have to be Cardinals related?
We're going to have a certain set of trivia questions that will be related to 9, 10, 11, and 12-year-olds a lot that way because
they're the most fun anyways because that's the stuff that they say on camera.
Yeah.
That's the ones that need the interview.
And I like to do the Cardinal trivia, but we do throw in a little bit here and there.
All right.
Otherwise.
I got some random things upstairs that, if I get one of those kids that are 10 years old that's just a baseball guru, I might see what he's got out there. So maybe have one of them questions just in case you run into a kid that might know.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you'll be shocked.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, the kid, it was an 11-year-old that answered the Pete Rose question.
Well, I remember the camp that we did with Justin, that young man that knew the Colt 45s, and he was like 9 years old or 10 years old, something like that. That's a big gap. Started at 11, went to 9. Let's just meet in the middle at 10.
It's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Youth baseball.
I remember that, and I was like, holy cow, this kid's got a little bit of – so I started hanging out with him and asking him random stuff all day, and he just likes baseball.
There you go. And there are some kids that do that. And
I should say loves baseball.
It's like we were talking the other night in the garage, and I am a plethora of useless information at times.
Yeah, oh yeah. I don't know a lot about a little, but I know a little about a lot.
Yeah, because I started naming off all the NBA champions since like 1972.
Oh, you got me there.
And before that.
I can give you 6.
And then I was doing baseball.
Maybe 8.
I was doing the baseball, the World Series champions all the way up through, because you go back to the Big Red Machine. That's where we started the conversation. People forget how good that team was.
Oh, man. It's crazy to me because when you think about like how good teams are, and then you had that Seattle Mariners team in the 90s with Boone and that group and
they never won a
100
series.
and something games, and they didn't. And you had this team like I thought between the 70s and early 80s, there was a lot of really good baseball being played. And I think it started with that group.
Because people forget, the 27 Yankees, of course, and none of us were alive. We just know, and it's history, in that respect. But I think that 75 Big Red Machine, I think you have to put them right there next to them.
Really?
I do, personally. I mean, look at the dudes that were on that team, dude. You had Joe Morgan, David Concepcion, of course, Pete Rose, Geez. I know I'm missing a lot of dudes. George Foster.
I was gonna say, I got his baseball card, and he's like his big old glasses that he has, like the aviator, or like the police style big glasses. Well, he had like 50 homers or something.
Yeah,
close
and
to it, right?
I know I'm missing
maybe not
dudes,
50,
but everybody walking up, Johnny Bench, dude. I mean, that team, I think, is in that conversation. That's just my thought process. And
they did go back to back.
Yeah, they were good. They were really good. And when you talk about, teams, greatest teams of all time, when you start talking like that, I mean, there's a handful that I think, just from time to, but that Big Red Machine, they won a lot of games, and they were really good.
This is just special time of baseball, I think, was in that 10-year span of, like I'm gonna go back to like, it feels like 72 for me, like as a baseball fan, to about 1986. Felt like that was a really good era of really good baseball.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of speed, a lot of hits, a lot of doubles. You got some guys that had some pop, some guys that could pitch. The excitement that was baseball at the time, I guess, with how they separated all the divisions around that just shortly after that. I mean, there was some really good players all around baseball, and it was the rivalry was strong in general. What happened between the Mets and the Cardinals. That was an exciting piece. The Dodgers and the A's, just stuff like that, and I shouldn't say A's. That was World Series kind of stuff, but the Giants and the Dodgers in the 80s were awesome to watch.
We don't talk about pennants much anymore.
No,
because at a time there was a time in baseball where there was one pennant to be won in the National League and one pennant to be won in the American League. That was it. And the team that won the National League, there was only like those many teams. It was all one division. It was the National League. Was split into two, and then you had the National League Championship, and you win the pennant of the East and the West or whatever it was, and then they played. And those are days that I remember, the two division ones.
Yeah.
Of course today it's, now we have 3 wild cards, and it's crazy.
As a fan of baseball and loving playoff sports, I'd like it.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. I love what's going on right now in the WBC. But, thinking about back then, you had 96 win teams not make the playoffs.
Now, speaking, I'm glad you brought it, because did you watch the game? The
last
Cuban
night?
The Japanese game was great. But I'm talking about U.S. They pounded Cuba.
Oh, yeah. I've been off for a week, so I've been able to watch a lot of baseball.
That game last night was exciting.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you on a guy that was 0 for 5 leading up to that at bat, and has all of these accolades over the last several years, 0 for 5, and gets lays off a really dirty slider or splitty, whatever that was. I'm assuming it was a slider. Lays off that pitch and sets himself up for a heater and just smokes it. And, then they walk off that win, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I really
It shows you really good how good Ohtani is, too.
Oh, yeah.
That guy.
Just watching the at-bats that the Japanese athletes had taken, super impressed.
Yeah, yeah.
They had very. I mean, sometimes I think they have bad swings just because of the way that their mechanics are, because the way that they finish and stuff like that. But watch them lay off pitches. I mean, they are ready to swing every time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun tonight, or no, not tonight. Yeah,
it's
tonight. Championship game, USA versus Japan.
Yeah, Merrill Kelly is going for U.S. And I cannot pronounce the Japanese pitcher. I think he's left-handed, though, which they're not going with Darvish or Ohtani. I know Ohtani's available, but Darvish isn't starting.
Wow.
Which was available to start.
But, they're watching pitch counts. They have to do it because it's,
There's rules.
And this is, because to me, you have to have those rules in place because this is spring training.
They are protecting players.
Yes.
But even then, there's still tournament rules, which I think is interesting because of the fact that we're talking about youth sports and tournaments and and things like that, and they have pitch standards.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong. It's interesting because it puts the onus on the team rather than just one superstar, and I think it does. And some of those guys, like they took Arenado out of the game when he got hit in the hand. He was like, yeah, I'm good, and I haven't hurt. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
no, you're coming out. Spring training, we're not going to, because the Cardinals are going to, why'd you leave him in there?
Well, you saw what happened to Altuve. He got, broke his thumb.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Whatever, but,
I didn't say that.
I took the foul ball.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. I like that little guy.
Cheaters never prosper.
Well, they did that year.
Stop. Well, yeah, they did.
So it's only a problem if you get caught.
Oh, mercy sakes. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, Shamrock Shootout. Did you see the rings?
Yes.
Man, they were pretty cool.
They were cool.
They were pretty cool. They have a lot of nice photos up on Game 7's social media. So if you guys are looking for some youth baseball stuff to go check out some of the social media posts that they made from this past weekend.
It's cool. There's a lot of, they do a
cool
great
action
job.
shots.
Yeah. And most of that stuff is Dave Schmidt. He's quite the photographer, Mr. Schmidt.
Really?
Yes, he is. Yes, he does a good job with the photography. Yeah. Shout out to you, Schmidt. Keep it up, bro. 12U will start. There was 4 teams: Cardinals, Crushers, Midwest Mavericks, Midwest Rebels, 12U Holt. The Cardinals were the number 1 seed, 2-1 Crusher, because the Cardinals had beaten the Crushers 9-5 on Sunday at 10:30, and they replayed each other in the championship game, and the Crushers came out on top 5-3 to win the championship game.
When I saw that, the first thing I thought of was how you were going to say Crushers today. I thought for sure, because I know that's one of the team names that you like, and I thought you were just going to elaborate, just
like Crushers.
Something crazy. I feel like that's one of the team names that you like out there.
Jason Lozano, coach of that team, AAA out of Springfield, Mo. Congrats to you guys. Winning the first tournament of the season for Game 7 at the 12U level. Congrats, guys. 13U had a 10-team field. The Rawlings Tigers and NBC White were 2-0.
Is that Nixa baseball?
Yes.
Okay.
Nixa baseball. I'm sorry. Yes. Nixa baseball club.
I took a guess.
No, you're correct. Out of Nixa, Missouri. You're right. The Rawlings Tigers there, that was Oklahoma. They're out of Oklahoma. Vandy Porter's squad, Tulsa, Oklahoma, they're AA squad. And I thought this was interesting. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys. That's pretty normal at this age. 13, 11 guys. I'd like to see 12 to 13.
Same.
At a 13U level, personally. And it's up to us as coaches to get to make that. We're going to talk a little more about that. A9 Legends, they finished 1-1. The Arkansas Futures, 1-1. The Missouri Angels, 1-1. Southwest Bombers, 1-1. Tribe White, 1-1. And the Grind, Matt's team, 1-1. Tribe Black and Patriots Baseball finished 0-2 in that tournament. There were some close games in pool play. NBC White 6-5 over Arkansas Futures. You had a 10-9 game, NBC White over the Grind. 3-2 Arkansas Futures over Tribe Black. What I think is interesting when you see this, sometimes you'll see these big scores, 12-4, 9-1. If you understand how you're going through pool play, getting yourself in position there, you might see a kid that has pitching. That's what you're seeing early on in high school baseball. You might see a game that gets away from a team. Well, early on in these tournaments, you might see a kid that's the 3 or 4 starter against a number 1 lineup that might have some trouble.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same way in Major League Baseball when you get to that 4th or 5th starter, or you got the guy coming up that's optioned out of AAA that has a bad outing because,
That's his first big league start.
yeah, it is right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's interesting when you get into some of these things and you see, well, how'd they lose again? Well, pitching matchups are key.
Yeah, and I mean, I think about my experience last year and watching what our groups did. That team had started out, I don't know, 3 and whatever it was, and we were trying to take and set up the rotation to have our best arms going in the playoffs,
right,
or in bracket play,
right.
Well, if we can't set ourselves up for a bracket play, like. We can't be 0-something and you want to face a number 1 team right away. You wanted to go out and get a win. So we would take that number 2 kid or, maybe a number 1 and go out, have them shove a game, get a win. And if we got lucky, get 2 and go from there. And so sometimes getting into the championship rounds, the semifinals, you might have your number 3 going or you might have a committee going.
Right. 2-2.
Yeah, ones.
2. Yeah.
I mean, I remember facing we were at out here in Wentzville, Peru Creek, and our tribe team, the 14U tribe team, made it to the championship playing the Naturals. They threw out a kid every inning. That's all they had left.
I think it's strategy, and that's the thing. Sometimes it's all you have left, and that's where I think when you start talking about 13, 14U baseball, which is what we're talking here is 13U. That's why I think you have to expand those rosters.
Big time.
You get into tournament play. The younger kids, you got kids that are not throwing hard. You don't want to throw them 800 pitches, to be sure. And you're looking at, 10. But how come we can't start that thought process moving? Very few teams have more than 6 pitchers at the youth level. If you've got 7 or 8, you're in the minority as far as that's concerned. And then because after that 6th guy, and even your 5 and 6 may be guys that can get it up there across the plate. And you may have 2 guys that can really actually pitch, throw with some velocity and things like that. And that's what I've seen across the board. And I think it's because we have multiple teams rather than multiple smaller teams as opposed to maybe 3 or 4 bigger teams. And putting kids in position to compete. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we move. And I think it's something we need to think about with youth baseball in that respect. You have a roster. Earn your way onto the field and those types of things. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't. But we're going to finish this conversation because as you see here, here's the Rawlings Tigers, number 1 seed, get beat by the 8 seed in pool play. They were 2-0. Matt's was 1-1. The grind was 1-1. They beat the Tigers 6-0. So whoever he had there threw a shutout.
Yeah.
So there you go. And that's the kind of thing we're talking about. He was 1-1 in pool play. An 8 seed playing number 1 seed, kid threw a shutout, man.
Clearly had his best arm going.
Right?
I mean, it would appear that way.
It would appear that way. Or he's got a couple guys that he's confident in, as we said, that at the top of that rotation.
I felt like you always had to win one game.
Yeah.
And if you won the first one, the second one was easier to play.
A little more relaxed.
Yeah, and so, whatever happens there happens. But I find if you go out there and try to win that first game, and that's why Titus would start almost every first game of every event for us. He would go out there, shove, and get us a win, and second game we'd have a little bit of fun.
Because they lost their first game 10-9 to NBC, and they won their second game 5-4 over the A9 Legends. So those were close ball games, both of them. So he gets that 6, loses to the Arkansas Futures 9-0. So maybe that's where the pitching went, and there you go. You see those things, and that's where I think you really see these things galvanized. Whereas again, the Tribe White 7 seed playing the 2 seed, they were 1-1, and they beat NBC 11-1. Again, I think that's where pitching. You had the A9 Legends as a 3 seed did win, and the Arkansas Futures as a 4 seed did win. They got in. So you had the Tribe White beating the A9 Legends 8-6, got to the championship game out of the 7 seed, and the Arkansas Futures, the 4 seed, were in and won the whole thing 7-6. Nice championship game there, 7-6 ball game.
Yeah, it probably was a lot of guts by the kids going out there and pitching. It was cold.
Yeah.
So,
that's the other factor too. It was chilly.
You know what's interesting is that you start to social media is an interesting concept, and seeing a lot of folks talk about this isn't baseball weather and various comments and stuff. And I mean I agree. Baseball is a spring summer sport. Mm-hmm. You know, college has been already playing for almost a month.
Right.
In several spots. And it's been 40 degrees. It's been 50 degrees. They play there when it's cold. Mm-hmm. You know, and some of these people have been outside trying to pitch, getting prepared for some of this next level stuff. So while it may not be comfortable, we shouldn't be necessarily canceling tournaments just because it's 45 degrees, cloudy, and windy. You know, they have to at some point play in that weather. If you expect your kid to go to college, then expect them to start playing in mid-February.
Now here's the way these dudes work. I love Game 7 baseball, Dave and Dave. They do a great job. They already have the schedule posted for the Midwest Rebels. It's Tuesday here. They have the Midwest Rebels Invitational schedule up. We're going to take a look at. They got 7U machine pitch, the Blow City Sox, Gamers Academy, Midwest Rebels, Missouri Gators. 8U machine pitch, you've got Gators, Midwest Rebels, Rawlings Tigers, St. Louis Redbirds, Prime, St. Louis Prospects, and the Sugar Fire Fury.
Which team is that? Is that Youngerman's team?
Let's see. Yep, that's Rick Youngerman's
team.
Yeah, Sugar Fire Fury. I love that, man. That works.
Man, you want to talk about a coaching staff?
Is that right?
Holy smokes, man!
Who is it?
I'm talking about that group in general.
Oh.
They have got some names in their...
Sugar Fire?
Yeah. They have like a 7, maybe 6, 7, 8, or 7, 8, 9, something like that. No, when they walk in the building, because they train at the hitting zone. Okay. And so this is why I know. When they walk in, I'm like, I know that guy. I've seen him on TV. And, it's like... I know that guy. I played against him. I know that guy. It's like, holy cow, like just the level of coaches that they have. It's always awesome because they walk in there and every coach has got like a $300 glove on, It's like, you just know.
Yeah.
It's just some things. So
we should go when we're out there
thing.
This weekend. We got to get over and see the 8U machine pitch and see how they're doing.
Go see them.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Rick had coached at Howell for a while as well, and Holt.
Oh, okay. All right. 9U, AA. Rebels, Mineral Area Outlaws, and the Under Armour St. Louis Prospects. 11U, we got the Jefferson Blue Jays, Lynn River Cats, Midwest Rebels, Coach Rohr and Coach Young's team, the Predators. We got some Predators. Those are out of O'Fallon Moe, Roger Melton. That always interesting to see an independent team like this. Be interesting to see how they do, right?
Yeah,
I think that's interesting to me. So 12U, we've got this is AAA, the Bulls, just Bulls, Washington, Missouri, all Mike right. Freeze, another looks like kind of an independent group here. That ought to be interesting.
That's a pretty big roster for 12, ain't it?
It's
is. 11 or 12 guys, it feels like.
12, yes. Yeah, 12.
Good for him.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think it's fantastic what you're seeing there. So then we have Gators Land. No roster as of yet. St. Peter's Mo, Mike Land, Gators Land. That'll be interesting to see what that. Oh, Gators Land.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to fix that. I'm like sitting there thinking about it. I'm like,
It's probably GBA. It's probably Gators, and it's Coach Land.
It is.
Duh.
I'm like,
All right. And
is it one of those team names? You know, they just got to put on his list. Gators Land Baseball.
Here, Hillsboro Mo, the Hawks, Jason Reese. So that'll be interesting coming up from Hillsboro there. I like to see that. Another kind of look there. We got some interesting groups coming up here.
Mm-hmm.
That 12U is going to be interesting to watch. Midland Bandits, Coach Sereno's team, Midwest Rebels, Grosh, and Holt. So I like that.
You know,
Couple independents in there.
Yeah, as you keep plugging, you know, you keep clicking on them to open up the information on them. You know, it's 11, 12 guys on a roster.
Yeah.
And that's at the AAA level.
I think that's good.
You know, and for me, I know that we're getting ready to have that conversation, but we got to pay attention to it.
We do. We have to pay attention to those things. I think it's very, very important.
Plus, we're talking about the health of young people.
13U, you got Midwest Rebels, Coach Feisey, Fritz, Pike, and Trout. Now, Trout's team is good. We've seen them in the last couple of years. They were out at the World Series last year. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on his squad, that 13U squad. So clearly this will be a team to watch here at that 13U level. And then Troy Outlaws. Interesting. Troy Outlaws black. Troy Outlaws
Illinois.
Red.
Yeah, Troy, Illinois.
Yes, Troy, Illinois. So coming over from that, it'll be interesting. I like to see these I haven't seen these guys before.
I haven't either.
So I love to see that and look forward to watching the Troy Outlaws out at the ballpark. They're playing in the morning on Ozzy's C, so we'll be right over. We're going to be parked in between A and D. That's where we're going to have our tent set up. Our portal, our studio will be set up there, so make sure you come between A and C at Ozzy's. We get that in. 14U AA, which is where we're going to be spotlighting. We're also going to be doing the game Sunday afternoon championship. I know my brain quit working for a minute, bro.
It's Monday.
It is Monday. No, it isn't. It isn't even Monday.
I know. I was doing it to be facetious.
Oh my goodness, we're in trouble.
I don't even know if facetious
Illinois,
is the word I should have used.
Illinois Gators, Coach Warner's squad. We got a couple of futures teams. Donnie Horn's squad coming in, and I believe it's. Hang on, just a second. It is Coach Keller, is the other 14U squad. Then you have Midwest Rebels, Kilker, and Coach Hatton. The Missouri Redhawks, Coach Haley. Rawlings Tigers, Nick Underwood squad. St. Louis Prospects, Post. I've seen they were around last year, compete. And the Z20 Bats, I believe they're West Frankfort, Illinois.
Okay.
So that'll be
That's a pretty good drive, ain't it?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, if you know where West Frankfort, Illinois is,
I feel like that's a pretty good drive.
Okay, you're probably right.
Well, I don't know about pretty good, but I'm guessing like
it's a drive.
Hour. I feel like it is.
It's got to be a drive. So we're at that, and we got
probably
the
like
14U
right next to Granite City or something.
yeah, exactly. And we got we're getting some of these. We're getting some of these squads here and rosters. I think it's interesting. I was looking at Coach Underwood's squad. He sent the roster. I'd asked the coaches if you're watching, coaches, please. If I sent out an email to all of them, if you could send me the rosters, we want to get to know these kids. We're going to be calling them. We're going to be following it. Coach Underwood, appreciate you getting that out. He's got his son, of course, Gray Underwood, Vianney. He's got Marquette, DeSmet, Lafayette, SLU, Westminster, Eureka, St. Pius, and Parkway North. So those are some schools that'll be interesting. You know, how are you when you talk about, Sam Flom, Kyle Runyon, and Doss Gibson all going to Marquette, that's a tough program. You got to be prepared to get to play on that field, right?
Oh yeah, everybody on there really.
Lafayette, you're right.
Everybody that you mentioned and the schools that they're going to, it's tough. Baseball in this area right now, is the high school level, is I think really, really good.
Yeah, because SLU, Lafayette, Max Williams and Ryan Rowling going to Lafayette. Charlie Ryan is going to Eureka. Eureka's always contending. It's all those kids are right in that with Marquette, Lafayette, and Eureka. That's that suburban St. Louis conference. That's tough, man.
They've always been good. Yeah, they were good when I was in high school playing ball in the area. They've continued to produce talent out there. And it just goes to show that if you're paying attention, there's good baseball in St. Louis.
And you look at Donnie Horn's squad here. He's got some Timberland, DeSmet, North Point. I love that. Dane Harris going over to North Point, the new school. St. Dominic, he's got 4 St. Dominic kids going to St. Dominic, which Dominic's a good program. They got some good kids. So that's not a cakewalk in there. Nathan Sherwood, Francis Howell, a Fort Zumwalt North, Cooper Lindsay, another DeSmet, Braden Winkleman. There it is. I'll spit it out momentarily. He's got a couple of North Point kids. I think that's an interesting one. And then the other so far we got was Keller's team, got a Holt, Francis Howell Central, Hannibal, Keegan Doherty. Coming down from Hannibal to play.
It's a good drive.
It is a good drive. It's hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20.
Yeah.
But to me, there's an interesting one. Going up to Hannibal, playing high school baseball. And Hannibal's a decent squad. They're a Class 5. They're in a tough district again. So he's coming down, getting into some competition. Francis Howell, St. Dominic, Francis Howell, 3 St. Dominic kids, a Sumwalt South kid, Jackson Walters, Bryden, I believe it is, yeah.
Jackson Walters, a Fort Zumwalt South kid, right?
Yes.
I played ball with his dad.
Is that right?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's always interesting because now you're getting to the age where the guys that I had gone to high school with are now having the kids, that are coming through. So I get to see them. When they first, got into baseball, they started asking me questions 10 years ago about this stuff, and now you're starting to see them go through the levels of play. So it's actually pretty neat to follow a lot of these guys from playing with them, understanding what they were as players, and then watching their kids play. It's pretty cool.
I think it's neat. We get into this conversation, the roster size and what we're going on here, because to finish off this segment, we're talking about competing. We're talking about 14U here. We're going to be following this. We're going to be live streaming the championship game. Competing at a high level and putting yourself in position, and how as a coach, because when you get into high school, nothing's handed to you, especially, we're talking about, here just on Keller's squad, Francis Howell. Listen, there's kids that were cut from that team that could play at other schools easily.
Every single school, it feels like in the GACs right now, especially that division, it feels like kids are getting cut that could play elsewhere.
Yes.
And there's a luxury, if you will. It is very difficult on coaches because you have to try to experience the measurables, those have to be some of maybe the deciding factors because of how weather impacts tryouts and is a kid hurt or not? It's man, I tell you, it is hard right now to play high school baseball in this area.
I told you I was going to open a can of worms on Misha, to where if you've got some of these Class 6 schools that are large, and you got some of these kids that are good baseball players, that like the GAC North, these Class 4 schools, we open up a selection draft
and get them over to
the other schools. Let these kids play, man.
Man, that would be wild.
Would that be wild or what?
It would be.
How about that can of worms?
Because you're talking about that kid from Hannibal. Like, for an example, I got a kid that plays for the 15U Tribe team, and he travels for Mark Twain.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore now. He throws well. He's
And
83,
Mark
84.
Twain is in Center, Missouri.
Yeah, it's far.
Yeah.
It's not. It's far, and so he drives an hour, whatever, to practice and stuff like that. That young man does throw well. There's 84, 85 as a sophomore, but he wouldn't sniff a varsity roster in this area.
It'd be very difficult. It would, not Class 6.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
he could get lucky to play at like a Warrenton and stuff like that. And
you Class 5 and below, 84, 85. It just depends on the school, though. There's certain schools, you're talking about, I think, the top schools. I mean, there's some kids, 85 is going to be low, right? Or at the bottom of your rotation. And you might still see them pitch, but it's going to be an inning here or there just to if you're in need of an inning or two here and there.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It's crazy.
I really encourage people to go out and see what high school baseball is, especially at the 14U, because you will see, and I'm mentioning this because of the rosters that you see here online, that we're talking about today. They're going to top schools, and when you look at how deep a Howell is, or how deep Timberland is, or Fort Small West, there's 20-something kids on them rosters.
That's right.
And you have got to embrace a role, and you have to be prepared to compete. And if we don't teach that at a youth level, and this is on the car ride home, so I'm talking about parents, I am talking about in-game coaching, I'm talking about sports IQ. You cannot just take them out to an instructor, think they're going to get better there one day a week or practice twice a week. You have got to prepare these young people for the next level, and that is high school baseball. And we can't get to college without high school, right? So don't be afraid to compete. And one of my favorite quotes I saw, and I apologize for not remembering who said it. But it was on a banner, and it said, "Stop comparing, start competing." And there is so much. It's so much comparing my son to the next or my daughter to the next, and we as parents have to stop doing that, because it's not your decision who fills out the roster, anyways. I know you try to influence the decision, but it's not working. Right. These people get paid. And that's part of their livelihood. And whether or not you think that coach is good and it's politics or whatever the BS that you think's going on, that person's job is to make the best roster so that person continues to have a job. So they're not trying to get fired. They're not trying to be terrible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sorry.
You're fine.
It's all getting me all fired up.
I got you, buddy.
It's getting me flared up. But I love this sport. And we have forgot how to teach our kids how to compete. It is for me, I think it's a big deal. I think that we need to stop coddling these kids. We have to have the coaches, the organizations need to gain control of that. They need to gain control of the culture. I understand parents should have an opportunity to speak up when things need to, but they should not control what happens on a routinely basis. And if you're upset because your kid is not one of the starting players and you go somewhere else, or you create another team, you're only creating part of the problem. You're not creating a part of the solution.
Teach you how to compete.
And why can't your kid why can't your kid compete at that level and be better? Because that's what happens at college. I've watched a bunch of kids in the last 4 years leave high school, go play college, and quit playing college baseball after 1 year.
Yeah.
Not just transfer, just quit.
Yes.
Because they didn't like what was happening there. Well, why did you go? Why are we just quitting? Are you going to quit on your spouse? Are you going to quit on your parents?
You're going to quit on your job?
Yeah, these things, like, what are we doing? And they're going to be living in your basement till they're 45 years old. And if that's okay to you, then hopefully they at least pay rent. But
right
at some point, we don't hold kids accountable anymore.
No.
We just don't.
That's the hot take of the day right there, baby.
They just don't. It does bother me.
I think it's a real thing. Again, we're talking about things here that are real. I think that are necessary for the conversation. Not everything is always 100%. Not everything is always right over here and wrong over here, or right over here and wrong over here. The conversations, adults need to be willing to have conversations, not because you're mad, but because, hey, I want to know, I want to help, I want to understand. And you have to hear the other perspective. You have to hear all the things that are going on to come to a place, okay, well, I think my kid just needs to get better. Will we accept that as parents? We need to, at some point, understand he's just got to get better.
There's got to be a plan.
And if he doesn't, if he is at this level and this is the height of his athleticism, how do you do that? What's that process? And that's where decisions have to be made. Conversations have to be had. You can have a really good high school career. There's a lot of kids that have really good high school careers. One of the best ones I thought was great. Last year, Alex Hebner was the right fielder for the fourth place state finish at Zumwalt East. I talked to him. He went to S&T. Kid's brilliant, smart kid. Went to S&T. He's not playing baseball. He goes, no, I'm good. And he was a huge contributor to that team. Played some really good high school baseball. Knew where he wanted to go. Got there, and he's happy. But he had a really nice high school career. Played good baseball. Hit over 300. Did all that. Led off. He was a really nice athlete that way. He understood where he wanted to go. What's wrong with that?
Man, you know what's crazy to me? I know we only got a few minutes left, but you, with what's going on in March Madness right now in basketball, this is way off baseball topic. But do you remember watching just all these great college basketball players never even sniff the NBA? And there's nothing wrong with being a great high school player like you're talking about. And then there's nothing else after that because you choose a different route. You know, and when I say nothing else after that, I don't mean there's a whole lot. Life is a whole lot.
Okay, but then there's the next point of that too. Then, okay, if you're a really good high school baseball player, you're not Division I. You're Division II. You're Division III. You're NAIA. Junior college. But you have to be a certain, junior college is a whole different thought process. But NAIA to Division III to Division II to Division I, where do you fit? Where is the best place for you? And if you want to continue to play baseball at a high level while you're going to school, there's nothing wrong. Go have some fun. Enjoy it. Just understand where you're at. I think that is the key to the competitive thought process.
And that needs to start happening now when we're younger. In a different perspective and different, we're not talking about education here necessarily, but we need to identify who our athletes are. And if we can understand the talent, who they are, we need to put them in the right position to succeed.
Very good.
And that can happen.
I agree. Absolutely, Mitch. Absolutely. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Get the bucket.
Got the bucket.
Get the bucket. Remember, subscribe. If you like what Mitch had to say, subscribe.
I know I got one fan.
Yeah, there you go. Subscribe.
If she wants to make me some fudge, I'll take some.
We got some.
Oh, you guys, you know who I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. And look,
that Christmas fudge was awesome.
We've got some great guests coming up. We got some fun stuff coming at you. Make sure you subscribe. That'll enter you to win this great package we got here.
I'm giving lessons away too.
Yes, I keep forgetting.
I
know. That's my fault. My bad.
I don't forget it. But I'm going to take care of you.
Got a couple lessons. Hitting, fielding.
I'll even bring this stuff to you.
From the Midster.
And if you don't, because you don't like me, that's fine. I'll
we got to stop saying that. Everybody likes you.
Oh, I of course.
I'm wonderful.
I have a face for radio. That's why I'm on TV.
Midwest Rebels Invitational coming up. We're looking forward to being out there. If you're following us on social media, we'll be posting our schedule when we're going to be out there. We're going to have a lot of fun. Top Award coming. Our first Super 7 Scholarship Award winner. Great stuff happening. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes, and hitters,
don't hit him to Randy Rosarena.
We'll see y'all next time.